Hello everyone, myself Asma Parveen. Today's my topic is Ashoka's services to Buddhism. The main contribution of Ashoka to Buddhism. The main source of information for the history of Ashoka's reign are his inscriptions, Buddhist and Brahmanical records. Ashoka was one of the greatest king of the world history. His greatness lies not on the wars he waged or on the extent of the empire he ruled, but because of his character as a man, the ideals for which he stood and principles by which he governed. H.G. Wells considered Ashoka's reign as the brightest interlude in the troubled history of mankind. His early life and accession. We know very little about his early life. As a prince, he served as a viceroy of Taxila and Ujjain. After the death of his father, he ascended the throne of Magadha, but the Buddhist record depicts him as Chanda Asoka and say that he killed his 99 brothers and ascended the throne. This is not true because his inscription rock edicts 4, 5, 6, which were issued after his coronation, clearly indicate that his brothers are alive. To quote V.S. Smith, it is a very silly functions of mendacious monks. The Buddhist records further state that Ashoka's formal coronation took place 4 years after his ascendancy to the throne. This has been generally accepted by most of the scholars as historical. They regarded this interval as a fra- fractical war of succession in which Ashoka killed his brothers Susima and ascended the throne. But as Dr. R.C. Majumdar, Dr. Bandhakar, etc., puts its truth is also doubtful. Kalinga War 261 BC. The most important event of Ashoka's reign was the conquest of Kalinga. He waged war against the most prosperous kingdom of Kalinga and annexed it to his empire. In this war, Rock Edict 13, 1 lakh people died, 1.5 lakh people were taken as prisoners, and many were injured. The horrors of the war deeply moved him. It was a turning point not only in his career and of Magadha, but also in the history of India and of mankind itself. He gave up Dik Vijaya and replaced it by Dharma Vijaya, that is, conquest through Dharma. In the words of H.G. Wells, Ashoka was only the military monarch on record who adorned warfare after victory. Extent of the empire. The Ashoka and the conquest and other sources indicate that his empire included the whole of India except Tamil Nadu and Assam. Outside India, it included Kabul, Kandahar, Balochistan, and Herat. Ashoka as a Buddhist. Ashoka was well known to history as a great Buddhist monarch. The miseries of the Kalinga War led him to embrace Buddhism. According to Buddhist tradition, he was converted into Buddhism by a Buddhist monk called Upagupta. In Bhabrud Edict, he declared his faith in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and in the Buddhist scriptures. Itzing says that he actually saw the statue of Ashoka dressed as a monk. Thus, it was beyond doubt that Ashoka was a Buddhist. Ashoka services to Buddhism or Dharma. Though Ashoka was a Buddhist, he never imposed Buddhism upon the people because his edicts does not contain neither the Four Noble Truths, nor the Eightfold Path, nor the goal of nirvana of Buddhism. Owing to Catholicity, he preached and propagated only Dharma, a code of morality, but it is generally held that his Dharma is nothing but a Buddhist Dharma. As a true follower of Buddha, he declared all the theological and metaphysical dogmas and made his Dharma purely ethical in content and universal in its appeal. His dharma consisted of charity, mercy, truthfulness, ahimsa, religious tolerance, respect to elders, teachers, etc. Hence, his services to dharma are considered to be his services to Buddhism. To spread Buddhism or dharma, he adopted the following measures. He practiced what he preached. He gave up meat eating and hunting. He issued a number of regulations to prevent the slaughter of animals not only in the royal kitchen but also throughout the empire. He gave up Vihara Yatras and undertook Dharma Yatras. He visited the holy places of Buddhism like Lumbini Vana, Gaya Kasimanagara, etc., and personally preached the law of piety or dharma to the people. He issued a number of edicts to instruct the people in the ethics of Buddhism. These edicts were engraved upon rocks and pillars and were planted at important places through the empire. He appointed a special class of officers called Dharma Mahamatra, unknown to history, for the establishment and promotion of Dharma among the people. He also directed his other officers like the Yuktas, Rajukas, etc., to preach his law of piety in addition to his official duties. He built a large number of stupas and viharas for Buddhists in the country. He summoned the Third Buddhist Council at Pataliputra to avoid Sikhism in Buddhist church. It was presided over by Mogaliputtasita. It was in this account that several measures were taken for the propagation of Buddhism both in India and abroad. Humanitarian activities. So, though a Buddhist, he was tolerant towards other religions. He made liberal donations to Brahmins, Ajvikas, and the followers of other creeds. For example, Barabar Hills caves were addicted to Ajvikas. By all these measures, he transformed Buddhism, which was once an insignificant sect, into a world religion. It is aptly said that what St. Paul and Augustine did for Christianity, Ashoka did for Buddhism. Then, humanitarian activities. He undertook a number of benevolent activities for the welfare and happiness of the entire animate and of world. He built hospitals, dug wells, planted trees, and erected rest houses for the use of men and beasts. His ideal of kingship. Ashoka has a lofty ideal of kingship. He had a high sense of duty and a zeal for public business. He was ready to transact state business at all hours and all places. To quote him, whether I am dining or in the ladies' apartment or in my bedroom or in my closest, I am ready to do the people's business. Probably no ruler in the history of the world ever expressed the relationship between the king and his subject as Ashoka. In his own words, all men are my children, just as I have desire for my children that they may enjoy every kind of prosperity and happiness in both this world and the next. So also I desire to came des- so also I desire the came for all men. In the words of R.K. Mukherjee in the Annals of Kingship, there is a scarcely scarcely any record comparable to that of Ashoka as a man and as a ruler. Greatness of Ashoka. Ashoka was undoubtedly the greatest of all the kings, even ruled over India. His services to the humanity is general and to the history and culture of India and her people in particular were unique. The credit of uniting the India both politically and culturally, which is the cherished dream of modern India, goes to Ashoka. He was the founder of modern welfare state. His ideal was government by dharma, law by dharma, and progress by dharma. He directed all his resources and energies to the elevation of the sufferings of humanity. He aspired not only for the betterment of his own people, but also for the entire human races. Whenever they live, he was the first man to realize that it is love, goodwill, peace, and non-violence that brings salvation to mankind and not war. It is only on these ethics that our foreign policy and UNO are based. During his momentous reign, art and architecture received a tremendous impetus. Indeed, his monolithic pi- pillars with remarkable polished and animal sculptures on the top still remain not only unanswered but also unapproached anywhere in the world. Moreover, the earliest written record in India in dates back to the reign of Ashoka. His inscriptions were written in Pali language, both in Kharosthi and Brahmini scripts. It was from Brahmi that all the Indian alphabetic system of the present day are derived. Then last one is conclusion. Because of these achievements to his credit, H.G. Wells aptly gave a memorable place in the annals of the world history. To conclude in the words of the world historians H.G. Wells, amidst the ten and thousands of monarchs that crown the columns of history, their majestic graciousness and serenities and royal highness and the like the name of Ashoka shines and shines alone almost as a star. According to R.C. Manjumdar, it is not every age, it is not every nation that man produce a king of his type and emperor. Ashoka still remains without a parallel in the history of the world. Thank you.